Hey folks, welcome to the second axe weapon guide. So my hope is I can complete everything related to the axe in this video, given that there aren't too many skills that I have to work with. So let's just get started by talking about the hold triangle abilities that I didn't cover in detail. I know I talked a lot about Rampage, and it's just as a brief reminder, Rampage can stagger basically anything and does a whopping amount of key damage. So hey, you're able to go for a fully charged Rampage on a boss, you get a huge reward, especially if you're able to do it off of a spinning slide. It's ridiculous. Let's talk about Mad Spinner. So Mad Spinner is, it's pretty interesting. It's kind of meme worthy because you just spin your axe until you run out of ki. And of course, if you use some of the sheathed abilities, which I personally don't use it. So you've got Adamantine, increase your defense, and then you grant immunity to stagger. You won't move as fast, but you can just keep it going without too much trouble. Battle Focus will allow you to use Mad Spinner more often, but you just increase your ki usage when dodging, which really won't matter if you're playing tanky anyway, because you're okay with not having to dodge at all. And then Rage is another very offensive buff. Get more damage, but use more ki, which has some great synergy with abilities like Intensity. So you can make all sorts of interesting builds with the axe. But let's continue talking about Mad Spinner. So I just want to show you the relative damage output, just to give a frame of reference. Let me show you the highest on its strong. Alright, roughly 2k damage. So let's just see what it's like if I go for Mad Spinner. A few hundred. Okay, I ran out of ki, and it looks like I staggered him. I actually knocked him off balance. Yep, the last hit knocks them off balance, which is pretty cool. So you can plan some things using that. But yeah, it's really valuable on targets where they ain't gonna move. And so if it like a yokai is out of ki, it's pretty good. So let's just test it on a yoki to give you an idea of what it's like. Can't go wrong with Epone. Use Epone. Thank you, Epone. Based Epone. It's not an Epone guide, I promise. So let's try it against Yoki. Not too bad. And you can hopefully see the increasing damage numbers because I have the intensity buff on. So it can be pretty fun to use. It's definitely more like a troll-worthy ability. But let me show you with the sheath abilities now. Let me put them out of commission. So it's especially noticeable when you've got battle focus to work with. Alright, you want to see how long I can spin to win? Oh, he deleted my ki. Let's try it again. Alright, let me do one. Alright, I'm gonna actually try that again. Because he did a lot of ki damage. What I'm gonna do is break his horn. And then when he's low on... Here, I'll just use the phone. Alright, now let's try it. Let's see how long it'll go. And with corruption, this is even dumber. Alright, he had to kick me in order for me to stop. So yeah, it's definitely there. Let's try it again. Let's go. This time without the buff. So, okay. Anyway, I've preached on quite a bit about that. So just as a brief reminder, Mad Spinner is pretty decent for DPS, and the last hit of Mad Spinner, when you finally end the attack, will knock back various human enemies. So it's kind of cool. Lumber Chop is pretty much just a super hard-hitting move, and as I remember I talked about the range and whatnot, but basically, charge it up, send a human flying, which is great. Oh, come on. And then next up, I have Rumbling Earth, which I personally assigned to low stance. Rumbling Earth does a lot, it has a lot of power to it, and also is a very large AoE. Look at that. So, if you may notice here, you can see the area of effect quite large. And so that means if, let's say, you're in the thick of things with various opponents, you can hit targets from surprising angles. Let's see if I can demonstrate this. Oh yeah, you also get hyper armor. So I can hit targets even when I'm not looking at them. Let's see if I hit them from here. Okay, maybe not there. But it's pretty cool. Long charge time. But again, if you use spinning slide, most of it gets negated anyway. Like, come on. That's pretty cool. So if you're in a bunch of enemies, you happen to say spinning slide one, you can get that really quick charge that rumbling earth and really pummel opponents. So I really like rumbling earth. But let's see what other abilities I have left to work with. Tri-Spark. Let's talk about Tri-Spark, and then I think last but not least there is Earth Carver. So Tri-Spark is 3 hits. It's pretty much an ability from a Yoki, especially the axe ones, you'll see them have it. But it's actually pretty reasonable for Hornbreaks, even aside from damage. You can see that I have hyper armor through it, even though I actually am using B toughness. And again, just for proof, you can see I'm towards the bottom. Let me point it out. I got B toughness right here. So this isn't like some crazy hyper armor build or anything like that. So yeah, many of these axe abilities naturally have hyper armor, so you will power right through. This doesn't do necessarily the most key damage, but it's 3 successive hits. And as I showed you before, you can do a modest amount of key damage, but really it's good for verticality and horn breaks and just 3 quick hits. So, but quick being a relative term for the axe. Last but not least, Earth Carver. Earth Carver, I believe the range for it has kind of gone down in contrast to what it was like in the first Nioh. I believe before you could be reasonably far away and Earth Carver would kind of connect. But now I think you have to be very close. So let me just demonstrate that. So I think before you could be like here and see it would normally hit. But you basically have to make sure you actually connect your weapon. It's really good after a spinning slide, as I think I mentioned in the last video, because it can be a near instant counterattack. We'll try that with Tri-Spark to show you the difference. Please attack me. So, there you go. Quick counter. It has a decent amount of hit stun, decent amount of stagger, nothing too remarkable, but it gives you time to set things up. So, fun abilities. I wish I could use them all. But yeah, there's really not too much involved with there. I just like Rumbling Earth, and recently I've been messing around with Rampage. I'll typically change it out for Tri-Spark if I feel like it. But let's talk about another thing I know I neglected. I briefly mentioned this in the last video, Spirit Wind. Spirit Wind does unfortunately contest with Spirit Storm, so you may ask, hey, why should I use Spirit Wind? Well, unlike Spirit Storm, Spirit Wind works on basically any attack in the same way that abilities like Demon Thrust for the Dual Soldiers will work. Like there, it connects. This ability is very valuable if you have a lot of guard key consumption, like reduction effects. And so it can be very handy. Now, what is the timing for this? Basically the same as Phantom Burst timing. Basically the same. That is the baseline, and so it can be pretty nice. It's pretty good for horn breaks. You can even activate it without getting the hit, but it's, in my opinion, more valuable when you're trading a hit for a block. Yeah, I could even have it work against a burst attack, which really makes it quite valuable. So yeah, it works against basically anything. And it's pretty nice. Not like amazing, but it's pretty nice. And if you are playing a tanky character, you may prefer Spirit Wind over Spirit Storm. But me being me, I like Spirit Storm because it's just fun. And then let's see what else. But yeah, Roar and Stone Mallet. I'm going to talk about Stone Mallet first. Both Roar and Stone Mallet have been improved. And their primary function in my mind is to kind of knock over enemies. So I want you to see what happens if I do just a raw Stone Mallet. I knock them down, get them down for the final blow. It's really helpful for that. And if you're, say, doing the dojo missions, it can be extra valuable to use this against the dojo boss to periodically knock them down and have greater control over the fight. So if you just need to knock someone down as opposed to, say, going for a lumber chop, do it. But bear in mind there is a bit of a cooldown with it. and it seems to be shared with Stone Mallet as well. Sorry, a Lumber Chop and Stone Mallet, the whole knockback effect that I've talked about, they seem to share a cooldown. But it's pretty cool, and I think in the last video I showcased the power of this in conjunction with abilities, other things with the axe against the boss Ren Hayabusa. So definitely worth investigating in. Let's see the key damage of it before I showcase Roar. Just want you to see what the key damage is so that you don't get tripped up. Key damage I don't think is going to be too huge. Okay, that broke a horn. That's not what I expected. Alright, let's get him out. I'm going to wait for him to reset. And then I'll demonstrate it again. Okay. Alright, I'll wait for that. And let's see what the key damage is for Stone Mallet. It's okay. It's nothing amazing. Key damage is acceptable. It's not like Rumbling Earth, which I'm pretty sure will deplete his key. Yeah, just straight up. It's not like Rampage. So you're not doing it for the key damage purpose. You're doing it mostly for knockback. Alright, let's reset that, and then let's showcase Roar. Roar is a funny ability, and it unfortunately conflicts with Stone Mallet. Where are you? The frontal charge and full guard. Whee! Don't necessarily move the fastest, but like Stone Mallet, it works pretty well against humans. And what's cool about it is that you can actually kind of control where you're gonna go. That's not Roar. So with Roar, I can kind of control where I'm gonna go. It has a nice hit at the end. So what's really valuable with it is this. Oh, I screwed it up. Get a nice hit off. It does have, as you saw, kind of that effect of making them reel backwards. So you can use that too if you don't like Stone Mallet. It's a little slower than Stone Mallet, and as you can see, the damage output and even the key damage output is really nothing at home to write about. So if you really just want to use it well, I would advise doing it for the knockback effect. Now, one thing that may be interesting... Well, that's interesting. Oh, I was trying to show it. I believe you do get block frames during the animation of it, so I'll just have to test this against a Yoki and just show it to you for proof of concept. Because in all honesty, I'm not entirely sure. I use Stone Mallet so much. Alright, let's see. Am I going to be considered blocking for the duration of it? Yes! You saw that. It ate a ton of ki. It did eat a ton of ki, but I was considered blocking by the game. But now you know. That's what I believe Stone Mallet does not have. Yeah, I could even block it, and then the end of the animation played through. So bear that in mind. But yeah, key damage, really unremarkable. I guess I broke the horn, which is kind of funny. Wow, a whopping 37 damage. Oh, I think I actually gotta kill this guy or get him out of commission. Come here. Come here. Here, take the laser beam. Take another laser beam. Okay, go take a nap. So there you go. Roar and Stone Mallet are really good against humans. Not the best in the key damage department, but they're very valuable nonetheless. But yeah, I like Stone Mallet more. Just a preference. Either one is hilarious. Roar, is much more trolly. But alright, let's see what is next. There really isn't too much. So I think I've got Titanic Strength and Bear's Bane. So let me start talking about Bear's Bane. Bear's Bane is an interesting ability, and it is quite slow, but it does have an appreciable area of effect. So the first hit, not so much. It's just like you're putting the axe on the ground, and then it takes a while before you finally pull it back up, but now you can see that area of effect coming into play. And you can see where it will work against various enemies. So even if you miss with the first hit, the second hit will generally connect with many targets. Now, if you are, say, having trouble connecting that first hit, let me show you just a simple maneuver that you can do so you don't have to worry about it. And get this chump out of key. Alright. I actually didn't mean to do that. Old habits die hard. Alright, move slightly to the right, and then you usually just get the hit off. So the first hit can miss, the second hit will usually connect. So just move slightly to the right, and you'll be in good shape. And it does hit targets from, like I said, at an area. See how it missed there? If I was just slightly to the right, boom, I get that hit to go off. So when do I use it? As you saw, I used it in moments where I knew I could safely get that first hit, and it was pretty good. And then sometimes if a target moves, then the second stage of the ability will still connect. So let's talk about Titanic Strength, which is probably one of Axe's best abilities in my opinion for just any purpose. In fact, the speedrunner Axel Sago uses Titanic Strength. Actually, he abuses Titanic Strength. Alright, it's ridiculous. Titanic Strength, it looks rather slow, but check this out. Enough stagger for me to keep this going. It's a very clean hit. And many enemies, even dojo bosses, have a little difficulty responding to this. I think he did this against Tsukuhara Bokuden, just like non-stop. I was like, dude, that's crazy. So, yeah, Titanic Strength is a very simple cookie cutter ability, but it is really good. And has overall, in my opinion, a very easy to understand hitbox. As you could see, have a good amount of hyper armor with it too. I mean, most axe moves have that hyper armor anyway. And let's just demonstrate how effective this can be hornbreak wise. It's okay. There are better, perhaps, abilities or attacks that you can use, but I can tell you, it's still pretty awesome to nail. Like, see, with that, totally broke him. And even the whole nature of this ability, you saw that the first hit I did broke his horn, and then when if that didn't hit, then notice that as I'm holy cow zoomed in, jumping, and why does this look hilarious? You can sometimes get a break with the second hit. It's just, it seems to flow almost perfectly when it comes to the stagger. Just hit stun in between attacks. So yeah, definitely take advantage of it. It's an overall very safe ability to use, even if it's on the slower side. Rampage, boosh. Quickly interrupt. That Bear's Bane off. I'll show you a cool little combo I like to use with the axe against humans. So, I usually like to mix in Bear's Bane with Titanic Strength, but I do that as almost a zero-key combo of sorts. Alright, let's get him out of key. Alright, so move slightly to the right. Bear's Bane. I forget I need to reposition. Titanic Strength on a zero-key enemy, especially if I'm close. Can get me 2 hits. Really, dude? Look at that break. Pretty good. Definitely don't underestimate it. Axe in general hits like a truck, so make it hit like a truck. Speaking of abilities that hit like a truck, Cloud Crush does a good amount of key damage regardless, and I put Masterful Slice on it to help. But let's talk about Southpaw. Why would you use Southpaw instead of, say, Cloud Crush? So Southpaw is actually really good for key damage on blocking enemies, so it has a lot of break damage. Let's see if I can get him to block. Broke half his key, dude. Even normally it does a good amount of key damage. It is a bit on the slower side, so be wary. But yeah, it is phenomenal for break. And hopefully you can kind of see how I can chain a few things to really keep this enemy on its toes. I mean, not bad, huh? Oh! I personally just prefer Cloud Crush because you can throw enemies away. and that's hilarious. But let's demonstrate its key damage against a yokai opponent. Just so you see, it's okay. It's okay in the key damage department. Broke his horn there, but it is, in my opinion, much more suited to enemies that block. It works really well against those scenarios. Still an overall good ability, and I put Masterful Slice on it so the key damage is a bit inflated. But alright, last but not least, I think I have High Kick and Tiebreaker to talk about. High Kick and Tiebreaker is fairly straightforward. A lot of forward motion. As you can see here with the kick, that looks kind of funny. And then you've got that follow-up, which is pretty reasonable. Not the most AoE, I don't usually use it for that, but it's a pretty powerful hit. So many enemies like to backdash away. Pretty good to catch up with them. And as I talked about in the previous video, free shifting from low stance to mid stance or whatever can really allow you to nail this hit off quite quickly. Pretty cool, huh? And E-Phone, can't go wrong with you. The kick is really nice because if there's one thing that Axe lacks, it's just in the mobility department. Now, I'm sure you've seen in many moments that, hey, I do have Sacred Bird Flight. Why am I using that? Well, unfortunately, like I've said, Axe doesn't have the most variety. You got Titanic Strength and Bear's Bane, and that's it. There is no other block heavy attack based ability. So that's why in mid stance I choose either Sacred Bird Cry or Sacred Bird Flight. Now, one weakness I find with Axe is that, hey, it doesn't move around as much. Well, guess what? Sacred Bird Flight, it's so awesome for that reason. Can you imagine someone with an axe who can move like 500 miles an hour? No, I freaking can't either. Look at this. Look at this speed. What the crap? That was such a great demonstration, wasn't it? Oh my god, such a great demonstration. Mixing some soul cores. Like, what the heck, man? This ain't fair. Yo, get up. Stay down. So yeah, definitely mix in. I use Sacred Bird Flight. You can also use Sacred Bird Cry. Let's try Sacred Bird Cry. Because you know what Axe needs? Axe needs freaking range. It doesn't necessarily have the best key pulse windows, but those are just Sohyamaru abilities in general. But yeah, I'm so used to using Sacred Bird Flight because that high speed movement is just absolutely amazing. I think there's one other ability I've not talked about, Heaven and Earth. Heaven and Earth is a very safe move to use for the axe. It's, again, safe is a relative term, but it's just safe in terms of it being kind of like an ability you can always rely upon. It works extraordinarily well against humans, has a lot of break and key damage in general, and quite reasonable for zero key combos, as you can see. So yeah, definitely use it. Alright, let's get him out. Against Yokai, it's pretty good for horn breaks too. So let me demonstrate this against a Yoki. Thanks for dodging out of the way, jerk. Nice, right? The final hit just destroyed all the key. There's actually one last thing I need to touch on, and I think I've gotten everything taken care of when it comes to the axe. And that is its running attacks. I know last time I talked about the dodge attacks and how they might have... They just don't get deflected, right? Which is cool because Axe more or less has parry disabled on all stances. The high stance stuff, roll-wise, isn't the most impressive. I mean, it's okay. But it's nothing at home to write about, right? It's just kind of slow. Running attacks are a little bit of a different story, particularly in mid-stance. So let me show them in high stance. There's a bit of a long key pulse window, and it looks very similar to some of the normal attacks in high stance. Low stance is a little on the slower side too. Notice the recovery for the key pulse. The mid-stance attack's a different story. Alright, look at this. Alright, and if you want to see how fast it comes out against a human opponent, let me just showcase all three of them. See, that can feel a little wonky. The strong one, okay. And the low stance one can oftentimes miss, which can be very frustrating because it is just like the quick stab. But yeah, mid stance attack, you can't really go wrong with it. So yeah, I would recommend doing the mid stance running attack. Really good. Definitely a good opener to start with. And I know I talked about all these other things when it came to the axe. So yeah, mix them in. You'll have a lot of fun. Oh, he's not going to get back up. If it was a boss, it would. Alright, you want to stay down? Please stay down. Alright, make sure I'm far away. Get that knockback! Bonk! The axe is the biggest bonk weapon. So, yeah, I think that's it. That's it. There's a good amount of customization, like I said, with the sheath abilities, mixing up your hold triangle abilities, taking advantage of whatever extra motion you can. Really does help the weapon feel a lot more complete. Even though the moveset is arguably has the least variety in the entire game. It's just hilarious when you can chain a bunch of things together. Let me showcase some generally speedy gameplay, relatively speaking, for the axe before I take off. And then if there is anything you feel I need to cover, please do let me know. You know, this was a great demonstration of it, wasn't it? Wasn't it? Whatever, let's try again. If you mix in soul core stuff, it gets extra remarkable. So yeah, stuff like this, throw in a soul core, combo things up, who cares, get hyper armor, lose my key because I'm terrible. But yeah, you'd be very surprised with its power output once you can start to mix in some stuff. We'll just do Rampage for the memes because I don't care about key anymore. Come on, hit me again, man. I want the super lumber chop. Let's go, let's go, let's go. I'm gonna try again. I'm gonna try again because that was sad. That was really sad. Right? One more time. One more time. Come on. Alright, let's go. Let's go. Ooh, 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 oh. Oh my god. Let's go. Alright, let's get a full rumbling earth. Let's go. Mix that in, cause why not? Let's go. Let's deplete that key. What's up, man? How's that key going? How's that key going? How's your face going? Your face is gone. So yeah, hopefully that gives you a good understanding of what to work with the axe. I don't think I have anything else to teach you, but if there is stuff that I've missed, do let me know for those of you that are perhaps veterans around here. But I'll just say this. I know the axe is slow. Alright, I know it is compared to many other weapons. I know it doesn't have that much variety when it comes to its moveset. But I cannot believe I have to say this many times, but dude, this weapon is so fun once you can mix in so much power, smash enemies to bits, and then with the Sohei skill and then yokai abilities, you'll pretty much forget about one of the biggest weaknesses of the axe, and you'll be like, yeah man, this is a pretty trolly weapon. Especially when you can mix in a lot of the regular attacks and be able to take advantage of things you may not have realized, because it gets so fun. So I'll leave you with that. Hopefully you have a lot more fun with the axe. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope this was helpful, and I will see you guys next time.